All right, we are live on YouTube. I'm just waiting for that video to connect on my other monitor so that I can grab that link and put it in our free business mastermind group so they can conveniently join us on YouTube and in the live chat. So let me grab this link. All right, as soon as it pop up. Oh, there it is. Pop up, pop up. Everything's going slow this morning. That's excruciating. I feel like the devil wears Prada. By all means, go at a glacier pace. Okay, that is spiraling. Boom. Okay, it is posted. So let me make sure I can see the live chat so I can see our community over here on YouTube in the chat. Cool beans. All right, we can officially get started. Welcome to your first six figures morning show, where every show is intentionally more of an interactive coaching and training experience to position Black and Brown female online service based entrepreneurs to generate your first six figures by learning how to make the money and create time freedom. Now, this week's blog is at shaycannon.com/launch. That's shaycannon.com/launch. I'm going to throw that over there on the YouTube side, because what we are talking about this week is failure to launch. Okay, a great offer does not sell itself. How you introduce it to the world makes all the difference. So a launch is not just a date on the calendar. It's a moment you create to demand, create excitement, and create urgency around what you're bringing to the table, your offer. Okay, so there are some things that stop you from launching your offers either at all or correctly. One of those things is mental blocks. Okay, sometimes you just have a mental block against getting it out there to the world for whatever reason. We discussed yesterday some of those reasons. I gave you 10 reasons and 10 solutions for those mental blocks. So if you want to know about the mental blocks that could be getting in the way of you launching your offers to the world, go back to yesterday's replay, okay? Today, we're going to talk about the fact that you have no leads, Leads. You have no leads. Good morning, Keith, over here on the YouTube side. Now, having no leads is the kryptonite of a launch, okay? A great offer means nothing if the right people never see it. So without clear positioning, you're essentially launching into the void, hoping that someone somewhere will magically stumble upon your offer and buy it. But hope is not a strategy. So when your messaging is unclear, when your target audience is undefined, or when your offer feels too generic, instead of being niched, right? Potential clients don't recognize it as a solution that they've been looking for. So the result, you are launching to crickets. Y'all know what the sound crickets make out in the great void at night when nothing else is out there? Crickets, okay? So no leads, no engagement, and no sales. So positioning isn't just about visibility. There's that word again, Shawana Kennedy Media. It's about making sure the right people see your offer, instantly understand its value, and feel compelled to take action. So if your launch isn't built on a foundation of strategic positioning, it won't matter how much effort you put into your marketing. You'll be speaking to an empty room. Okay, so that's no leads is what's stopping some of you guys from launching correctly. So how do we fix that, y'all? All right, well, you know, on the morning show, we go beyond the blog to give you more. So let me put that blog up and bring up these show notes. Here we are. Okay, so there are 10 top reasons that you don't have leads when you get ready to launch your offer. Okay, because let me tell y'all something. This is that thing where I don't know if y'all saw that old movie with Kevin Costner. It was a baseball movie. It's called Field of Dreams. And what the voice kept telling him was, if he build it, they will come. If you build it, they will come. Well, some of y'all believe that about your offer, and I'm sorry to tell you, it's not true. Okay, I don't care how great your offer is, how much it's going to help them, how you have evidence that it will be a transformation at the end, how you're such an expert. None of that matters if you don't have someone to sell it to. Okay, it can work, but if you don't have anybody to buy it, who is it going to work for, right? So having no leads by the time you get ready to launch is a no-no, because a part of your launch should be that you have someone to sell it to. We don't just up and start selling. That's just not how we do things on this online world. Because if you don't already have a following and you just start pasting on Facebook, then who sees it? Because nobody's following you. Nobody, you've not had conversations. You've not started nurturing people, right? Okay, let me get off my soapbox and get into these 10 top reasons you have no leads, and we're going to solve for each one of them, okay? Number one reason you have no leads is unclear messaging, okay? If people don't immediately understand what you do and how it benefits them, they will not buy. You do not have the luxury of long-winded explanations. You have to have these concise things like your elevator pitch, right? Which comes from clarity. So the solution, focus on the transformation. What specific problem does your offer solve? And what outcome, specific outcome, does it create? Make it simple, make it clear, and make it compelling. Okay, that's your unclear messaging to clear messaging. Number two, no defined target audience. You want to make my skin crawl? Let me hear you say that what your offer is for everybody. Who is that for? Everybody. Okay. Trying to serve everybody makes your offer feel generic and forgettable. But also trying to serve everybody, trying to speak to everybody actually attracts nobody. You have to remember that. Some of you are afraid to niche down and talk to specific segments of the population. But when you do that, people understand you're talking to them and they pay attention. This is why they taught you. I don't know if any of you have ever taken CPR, but they teach you in CPR that when you need help, you don't just say, somebody get help. Anybody get help. Because now you're talking to nobody. Everybody's going to stand there because they're thinking you're talking to somebody else. But if you say, hey, you in the red shirt, standing there in the blue jean shorts, go get help. You have called that person out. They're paying attention, and now they're going to take the action that you gave them. You have to niche down and call people out so that they can self-identify. Okay, so solution, narrow your niche, speak directly to one type of client with a specific problem. They should feel like you're reading their mind. That's how good you should be with that messaging and defining your audience, okay? Number three, the problem is you have a weak offer positioning. The offer is positioned weakly. And that just means if your offer blends in with the competition and there's no urgency to choose you in particular, it's a weak position for your offer, okay? So what's the solution to that? Identify and highlight what makes your offer unique. We talk about USPs, unique selling propositions, all the time. What makes you unique? Yes, most of us work in an oversaturated market where a whole bunch of people do what we do. But the next time you think that doesn't mean you can get sales, go to the grocery store and go in the bread aisle and tell me if that whole line of the aisle isn't filled with different types of bread. You're just a different type of bread, but how do you stand out amongst the other breads? Okay? How you do it and who you are works for a certain population of people that need you. How do you show them how unique you are and how you stand out? Okay, so your process, your approach, or your experience can set you apart. The experience they have with you, the client experience, can set you apart. Number four, your offer is too broad. Your offer is too broad. A vague or overly complex service makes it hard for people to see the value. Okay, so if your service is just, for example, if you say I do business coaching, that's too vague. Right? Now, if you say, I do business coaching and we're going to do this, and this, and then you have a 20-point system and it's this, and you're trying to explain the system rather than the transformation, then that's overly complex. So either one of them can make your offer feel too broad. Okay, so the solution, package your expertise into clear, results-driven offers that make it easy to understand and easy to say yes to. We don't want to overcomplicate things, but we also don't want to make it too broad and too generic, okay? Number five, no proof of concept. Let me tell you how a lot of people do this when they think it's a great idea. So they just think it's going to be a moneymaker, right? I got this great idea and it's going to get me to $1 million. Well, if you haven't tested your offer with real people, you're guessing instead of selling. Okay. This is why we have introductory offers or beta offers or test offers, because we need to make sure that what worked for us or what worked for one person will work on scale for other people. Okay. So because you have no proof of concept, it is very hard for you to have leads because you've never done it before. Okay. How can you have leads for something that you've never done before? Well, the solution is you can pre-sale, you can beta test, you can get testimonials and do all of these things before the official launch. Okay. So you can launch it like a small launch first to a warm audience and then use all of the feedback to make it better. Use all the testimonials, and now we're going to do the grand launch, the launching it widely. We will have real results, and we will have built-in credibility. Okay, so that's how you solve no proof of concept. Number 6, ignoring the sales journey. Okay, I think that some of you think that to have an offer and launch it is just for you to tell people to buy it. There's a specific journey that you have to get people ready for. So expecting people to buy immediately without nurturing them first is a mistake, because you're not recognizing that people have to go on a journey before they buy most things, especially high ticket things. Okay. The only things we buy without a journey are usually cheap things that are not at risk. Why you think Temu makes so much money? They over there in China just molding plastic and selling it to us. And we like, okay, it's $1. I'll take 3. Okay. That's because it's a low price, low risk. Most of us have fairly high priced things and we want people to buy. So we have to take them on a journey to buy. Okay. So solution, people buy when they feel connected and confident. So you educate them, you engage them, and you build trust before you start making the offer. Okay. Or as you're making the offer. So that's taking them on a journey. Number 7, lack of market demand. I'm going to tell y'all, some of y'all be selling stuff and I be asking myself, who asked you for that? Did somebody ask you for that? Or did somebody's ask you for that? Because some of y'all can have one person ask you and you all of a sudden think that everybody's asking. No, one person. So lack of market demand. So selling something people should want instead of what they actually do want. Okay. Now, there's another thing that I want you to remember about market demand. There are things that people say they want and they say that they will buy, but that's not actually what they will buy. And you figure that out through market research and getting to know your ideal client. So sometimes it's not your fault, because sometimes y'all put it out there and y'all say, hey, if I did such and such, what y'all buy, and a bunch of people might say, yeah. Do a little more research, okay? Because sometimes that yes is not really a yes. But the best way to do it, the best solution is research your audience's pain points and the desires, okay? Because if you ask everybody, do they want a 6-pack abs, rock hard abs? Yes, I'm gonna raise my hand. But if you ask me to buy a gym membership, you want to see my hand go down? I'm not going to the gym. I want abs. I'm not going to do the work to get abs. See the difference? So do your market research into the pain and the desire, not only one. Okay, we need both of them to come up with the solution that'll work. So align your offer with what they are actively searching for, the pain they're running away from, and the desire that they're running to. All right, cool beans. Number 8, not speaking their language is why you don't have leads for your launch. You're not speaking their language. Okay. Some of you are using industry jargon. Some of you are using these academia words. Speak how they speak. Use the words that they use. I tell y'all all the time, I used to say business operations until I realized most entrepreneurs don't know what the heck that is. When I asked them what business operations was, they started listing stuff for marketing and sales. That is not operations. I mean, it can filter in, true, it can blend in, but that's not the core of what operations is. So I don't say that as much anymore, right? I say business management. Okay, that's more of what they call it, managing your business, building your business, business growth. All of that can be tied in, because that is a language that I found that people are using when they need what I offer. That's how they label it. So I have to talk to them with how they label it and educate them on what it is. But to catch their attention, I have to first call it what they call it. So use the exact words and phrases your ideal clients use when describing their own problem. Mirror their language, all right? Number 9, as a reason why you don't have leads when you are about to launch, is no warm audience to sell to. This is the big one. This is the obvious one. You have no leads because they don't exist, period, for you, okay? So expecting strangers to buy from you without any prior relationship is craziness. Again, that only happens when you have something that's so cheap, there's not a risk, okay? But you cannot expect for somebody who does not know you to give you their money. I don't care if you're talking their pain points. I don't care if you're talking about their desires. They still don't know or trust you. They can, within a few minutes, decide they like you, but they have to like, know, and trust you to buy. And if you have not been speaking to them all along, they don't know you and they don't trust you. So you have to go back to that sales journey of, nurturing them. So the solution is build an engaged audience before you launch, okay? If people already trust you, they are more likely to convert to sales. This is why sometimes we do our first sales to a warm audience, people we have not sold to before. However, they already know us, they already like us, and they already trust us. We just have never sold anything to them yet. So they are more likely to convert. So we could do that warm audience. And again, if you go back a couple of numbers, that could be our beta test where we start getting our credibility. But you should not be launching and you have not created a community. You don't have people to sell to. Okay. Now, there are 3 ways to have a pool of people to sell to. You can build it with your own community. You can get in front of somebody else's community where you're borrowing a community, and you can buy a community. You can do ads or whatever. However, most of it, you still need to start the journey. You're still going to have to go in there and engage and nurture before they will buy. So I don't care if you build it, borrow it, or buy it, you still need to go through the journey before they will convert into sales for you. Okay. Last but not least, misaligned pricing perception. Okay. Misaligned pricing perception. If your price doesn't match the perceived value of your offer, people will hesitate. Okay. People will hesitate. So the solution, position your pricing based on the transformation. Okay. Not how many meetings, not how many downloadables, not how many videos. We don't value that. We don't want to watch them anyway. But if you start talking about the transformation, I want that transformation. Okay. So not just the deliverables, but the transformation. So you want to show how the investment will pay off in the end. What is the return on investment? Okay. We don't talk so much about in between. We got the investment amount and what is the return on investment, which is the transformation. Okay. So it's funny because I have a course that I can easily sell for $10,000, right? And if I just say course and $10,000, y'all are like, I'm not buying no course for $10,000, and that's do it yourself. And I got to watch videos and try to figure out, am I doing it right on my own? I'm not paying $10,000 for that. Well, no, if I just tell you course and $10,000, no, you won't pay for it. But if I tell you, okay, that I have created a system so that you can learn how to make your first 6 figures, which is $100,000. And if we know that as a return on investment, we usually invest 10% to get 10 times and tenfold. If I start talking about that to make your first $100,000, you have to invest 10% to get tenfold. And you do the math, that's how much? $10,000, right? So it's all in how are you packaging this price. Are you talking about the transformation, or am I telling you that for $10,000 you get a course? So the question for today is, which obstacle to having leads do you think you have in your business, and did any of the solutions, were they helpful? Let me make sure I said this right. What obstacle to leads to gaining leads, I think this should say, do you think you have in your business, and what did you find helpful in the solutions? We're going to start with Dewana, but I'm going to go back through the 10 without all the extra, just so you guys are reminded of what they are. So let me pull that back up. All right. Number 1 was unclear messaging. All of these are the reasons you don't have leads to launch your offer to. Unclear messaging. no defined target audience, weak offer positioning, offer that's too broad, no proof of concept, ignoring the sales journey, lack of market demand, not speaking their language, no warm audience to sell to, or no audience to sell to, misaligned pricing perception. So those were the 10. So we're going to start with Dewana. Dewana, which obstacle to gaining leads do you think you have in your business, and did you find the solutions helpful?
Good morning. What was, can you tell me what misaligned, I think that was number 8. Misaligned, what did you say?
I said misaligned pricing perception, but that was number 10 though. Tell me more about what you thought it was.
I was thinking misaligned pricing, whatever you said, because everything else I pretty much kind of got down. That's the only one I'm kind of struggling with is pricing right now.
Yeah, because you have to help people understand what is the return on investment, right? So if I tell you that, for example, recently I was talking about faceless marketing. Y'all know we did a whole a week on that, right? And one of the tools I found was an agency that will do your videos for you, right? And the package starts at like $800 a month. And so the girl was like, I don't want to pay $800 a month for tech. I said, yeah, you're looking at it the wrong way. Who could you hire for $800 a month that would crank out videos for you in this unlimited number of videos? Who could you hire to do that? And then when you put it in perspective, right? When you talk about the transformation and the return, now $800 don't seem so much. But if you just say tech for $800, that's too much. So we don't talk about the deliverable, the tech, or the course that's $10,000. We don't talk about course. We talk about how your $10,000 is going to get you $100,000. What is the transformation? What is the return?
Gotcha. Yeah. Yep.
All right. Cool beans. Let's go to Dr. Latoya. Dr. Latoya, which obstacle to gaining leads do you think you have in your business? And did you find any of the solutions helpful?
I think probably the one that I'm working on now is the following the customer journey. I think that's how you said it. Yeah. Following the customer journey. I think, yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
My mind just had a whole conversation with myself. We're going to stop there. Yep.
Yeah, so it's the sales journey, right? So it's a little different than the customer journey in and of itself, because we're looking at, and I sometimes, if you've been in workshops with me, I've called it your path to cash, right? We have to pay attention. How do people usually buy from you? And how do we multiply that to get more people to buy from us, right? For example, what I learned about my sales journey with my clients is most of you buy from me because you're in my community. And what happens in my community? I overly nurture you, right? So now that lets me know that if I invest more time in overly nurturing and recruiting more people and new people into my community where they can get to like, know, and trust me, that's where most of my sales are going to come from. Now, it doesn't mean that it doesn't also come from referrals, and it doesn't also come from this and that, whatever. But what it means is the vast majority of it comes from that sales journey. So yes, that is important to look at, Dr. Latoya. All right, let's go to Dr. Ayana. Which obstacle to gaining leads do you think you have in your business, and did you find the solutions helpful?
As always, more than helpful. It's a blessing. Thank God for Sister Shay and this family. Okay, moving right along. There were 3 items that really rose to the top. The number one is unclear messaging for me. I need to be more steadfast on breaking down complex and new concepts, because my industry is medically health related and a lot of people don't just automatically understand certain things. So as I break down more complex concepts, I do see light bulbs turn on for people. So I really have to be steadfast on sticking with that. The second thing that resonated was I need to access and get in front of my audience more. So my target people, I need to just be out there more, building the community. and finally, I think that misaligning the pricing perception, I have got to talk up and flesh out more clearly for people the value in embracing taking steps so they won't die early. Because if a person's not broken or if they don't perceive that they're broken or on the verge of early death, they don't understand why they need to invest in themselves. They don't see the risk. So I gotta do that more clearly for people.
Yeah, because you know, my grandmother passed last August, and some of the conversations we used to have all the time was about longevity, right? Because I just knew my grandmother was in her early 90s. I just knew she was going to make it to 100, right? And so we used to talk about that all the time. I just know I'm going to make it to 100. I'm going to be a centurion, right? So, but I also look at, do you want to make it to 100 or do you want to make it to 100 with a great lifestyle, right? With, with great health so that you're actually still living life, not just living. So I feel like people don't understand that just because you don't feel like you're dying and you don't have this diagnosis doesn't mean you shouldn't be working now to have the type of longevity that you want. I don't want to just reach 100. I want to reach 100 in good condition and still living and enjoying life. So I think, again, that what is the return on investment? Not just the investment, but what is the return on investment, and helping them to understand, don't wait until you have dis-ease before you start working on your health. These are the things that are important so that you're always living life to the fullest all the way through. So I think that is some messaging that catches people's attention. And when you start to niche down who your client avatar is, you can start speaking to them about longevity where they are in particular in life. So all of that I think goes together, Dr. Ayana.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Cool beans, no problem. Sasha's back this week, y'all. So Sasha, which obstacle to gaining leads do you think you have in your business? And do you feel the solutions were helpful?
So I think one for me that I've been struggling with is because I have not launched yet. I'm working on like my business plan and pitch deck and all of that. The one thing that I'm struggling with is like the language for what my services would be, because I know it's my corporate career has been a lot of like what I'm launching as my own business. So I know all that technical corporate terms, but a lot of smaller businesses that would be my target audience might not. So that's one thing I'm struggling with is in my pitch deck is like how to get them to understand it. So I'm working through that right now. That also goes with like, no, I forgot what I was gonna say. Also like, let me just pivot. The audience to sell to that right now, that's, part of the reason I'm in this group and joining other groups, going to TSP in June and just trying to build connections is I don't have connections right now for who I would sell to yet. So that's something I'm trying to build right now. So it was helpful to hear that. And then what also was helpful is like the pricing conversation, because that's another thing that I've been like, I know my worth. I know how much effort and how much work goes into like my services. So I think it was a good reminder to like focus on the return of the investment. And like, for me, it would be like site metrics that would increase with the work that I do. So that was helpful to back up my pricing, because that's one thing that I've been struggling with.
Love that. Love that. I also think that you can be doing some research right now, right? Go ahead on social media and be having conversations. Another thing that you can do, depending on how quickly you need this information, because when we need things done quickly, we have to pay. So sometimes what you can do is this is something that I did a long time ago. Pick people, like 10 people, who would be a great fit for what your offer is, and have a quote unquote coffee chat with them. So tell them, hey, I'll buy you coffee if you give me an hour of your time, right? 10 people, let them RSVP, show up. And what you're going to do is go ahead and soft launch with your pitch deck and start asking the questions that you need the answers to. What words, how do you see this? What words do you use to describe that? What would make this valuable for you? I went through my whole presentation deck, right? And gave them everything. They helped me to perfect it. They told me what words they use. They helped me with the price. They actually raised the price. And then at the end, they were like, I actually need that. You don't say.
That's a good idea. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, so you can, say I'll buy you coffee. All you do is really, you can send a Starbucks card, or you can just be like, what's your cash app? I'm sending you $10, or I'm sending you $8, or I'm sending you $5, right? And so 10 people, that's $50 if you're giving everybody $5, or $80 if you're going to get, but you're going to get invaluable information for that $80. And so again, the key is pick people who would be a good fit for it. Have the coffee chat, do the pitch. And so they're helping you to perfect it, right? And then they're going to help you to do it. They're the target audience for it. And at the end, you might have somebody raise their hand and be like, hey, I need this. And you're like, yeah, I know you do.
Oh, that's a great idea. Okay, I wrote that down. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, let's go to Dr. Tachi. Dr. Tachi, when it comes to having no leads in your business, what obstacle to gaining leads do you think you have in your business? And did you find the solutions helpful?
So it will be the one, I forgot how you worded it, the one concerning pricing.
Okay, misaligned pricing perception.
Yes. So that definitely that. But I also wanted to ask what else you thought would be a fit.
For
If
which
any.
offer?
For, I mean, with regard to the network.
Okay. So I feel like, okay. See, I got confused because when you were talking about the network, what are we trying to price for the network specifically?
Oh, so remember how we talked about actually offering services to augment those things. So that, but in terms, like when it comes to an offer, there's not always with the network a price attached because it's free to watch. So I'm saying, I'm asking, are there other things that you think I could incorporate out of what because I'm trying to figure it out. I'm like, I don't know, but maybe Shay does.
So I think, okay, so in your Pick My Brain document, you got a list of all these things that you can sell.
Yes.
But I can't give you a price until you pick one of the things. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. I get it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what I'm pricing. So you just have to pick something because we're going to look at that specific something. We're going to look at the value of it, which is the transformation. And we're going to price based on the value of it, which is the transformation. And so you got a list of, I don't know, 200 things.
Yes.
And you're going to have to pick one for me to give you an example of what is the transformation value, perception of the value of it. And so therefore, where can the pricing be? But you have to pick a specific thing. All right. Let's go to Shawana Kennedy Media. What obstacle to gaining leads do you think you have in your business? And did you find the solutions helpful?
As always, very helpful. One of the things that I am currently doing is tweaking my message to make sure that it is tighter so that my ideal people will know specifically that I am talking to them. Sometimes where I go back and forth though is like right now, I do know that my ideal client is definitely over 45. But I don't want to get into age because of course I don't want to, stop anyone else that could potentially use my services. But it's really tweaking and trying to fine tune what that message is and make sure that it is crystal clear as I'm producing the current things, even with me doing 60-second videos. I want to speak directly to them so they know, like you said earlier, calling them out. And you like what you said, calling them out. I may need to, in some of my quicker videos, do a call out. Like, yeah, if you want to know, am I calling you out? I am. So that's kind of what hit me. So if it's something else you can suggest, just let me know.
So I think the thing that you're running away from is going to be most helpful, and that is not calling out our age range. Because the more you niche, the more you're going to talk directly to them where they self-identify, right? So if we're talking about visibility and being on video and we just leave it out there for any generation and we're being general, right? Then what we know is there's a part of, there's some age groups that they grew up being on video. They don't know anything else, right? they're not afraid to be on video. If you tell them what to do, they'll do it, or they are out here emulating people anyway. But then there are those age groups that's like us and older, who most of us are taught to be not to be seen or heard. You know, we need to hide. We don't need to brag, all of these things. And so niching down to speak to them in particular may actually bring you what you're looking for, because those are the ones that have the most problem with being on video.
That's what I say. What's going the whole back and forth with the tightening up of the message to really specifically speak to that person, that group.
Now, again, you don't have to call out the age range name. Like, you don't have to say Gen X, but what you can do is say, okay, what are the problems Gen X and boomers have with getting on video? I'm going to speak to those problems, which will therefore speak to those people. Do you see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So what are some of the pain points? What are some of the things they can't get over to get them to actually do this video? So for boomers, it's probably going to be some tech issues, right? So where Gen X might know the tech to use, and it might be easier for them to use, boomer don't know the tech to use, and they don't know how to use it either. So there's that. When it's Gen X, it might just be, hey, I'm going to tell you exactly what to wear. I'm going to tell you exactly what to say. And so therefore, it's going to be cut and dry, and you just do it. Gen X love to be given instruction when we're not comfortable with stuff. And then we start to pull in, okay, well, what is special about you? So I would say, think about the boomers, think about the Gen X as an example. What are the things that make them not want to appear on video, and start speaking to those pain points and how you're solving them as a transformation. Does that make sense?
It sure does. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Like I told you, I think we talked about 2 weeks ago. For me, on top of BIPOC women, which on here I just say Black and brown women, I'm actually targeting Gen X. And so what you'll start to see me do is run campaigns with nostalgia pieces that Gen X will recognize. So I'm not necessarily going to call them out as Gen X. I'm going to say something like, if you remember this Razor cell phone, right, you're my people. You know what I'm saying? And this is the problem, and this is how I'm going to help you to solve it, type of thing. So does that make sense? So I didn't call out Gen X, but we know that Razor flip phone, that's our generation. So there are ways you can do things without adding to, because I got enough adjectives now on my niche of ideal client, but there are other ways that things can show up for you. Another thing that I'm looking, some of the changes I'm making in March to niche down, like instead of saying your first 6 figures, I'm going to change it to her first 6 figures. So I'm going to start doing things that really close in on this very niched avatar that I'm trying to reach, so that when you see stuff, it is calling to you. So even small tweaks like that help people to see. So your first 6 figures could be anybody. Her first 6 figures, I'm clearly talking to women. You see what I'm saying? So small little tweaks like that can help people to self-identify.
Cool. I love it. Thank you.
Okay. Kimberly, you can put it in the studio chat, because we know you're probably at the Dream Funder, but Keith over here has said that he needs to do, I need to talk their language more. Yes, Keith. And so this conversation with Shawana applies to you too, because we speak more. So this is why I like looking at a client avatar, not a group, right? This is why I do an ideal client avatar and I name her. So my ideal client avatar, her name is Sasha. I know 30 points of value about Sasha, and so I'm able to talk to Sasha. Now, what I want is a group of Sashas, right? But I don't get the group of Sashas by trying to talk to a group. I have to talk to Sasha, so a group of people identify as Sasha. Now, I feel like I'm talking in a circle, but let me tell you like this. When you try to make a group of people happy, even though that group of people might have the same problem, there are still distinct personalities and different things you have to do to make a group happy. So you can't talk too detailed. So guess what happens? Everybody in that group might not understand you're talking to them, because you're speaking too generally so that you keep the group. That doesn't work. But if I just talk to Sasha, right? I just talked to one person, and this girl is this and it's that. And people who feel like, some of them feel like they're on the outside listening to my conversation with Sasha, but then there are a group of people who feel like I'm talking to them because they feel like they are Sasha. Does that make sense, y'all? So when you talk to one person, there are going to be a lot of people that identify as that person. But when you talk to a group, there are going to be very few people who identify as the person that you're talking to because you're too general. So we are scared to get niche, but niche, that's why they say the riches is in the niches. Okay, because the more you niche down, the more somebody understands you're talking exactly to them. Okay, so it's almost like, the church people, when you in church and the pastor is going and he's adding more detail, and the more detail he add, the more you feel like he's talking to you. Out of everybody in church, he talking to you, and you trying to figure out what all did you tell this man that he telling your business like that? Yeah, it's not because he stayed general. It's not because he was over here talking about your woes generally. No, he went down into relationship woes. And your children not talking to you, and you're not on accord with your husband. And the more detail the more you think he talking to you. That's what you need to do with your ideal clients. That's what you need to do. All right, y'all. So as you know, we're talking about failure to launch this week. Yesterday, we talked about mental blocks. Today, we're talking about not having leads. Does anybody have any questions about either of those things or any value adds? Because tomorrow, we're going to talk about lack of strategy. Some of you don't understand marketing enough to have marketing strategies. And so we're going to talk about marketing strategies tomorrow. But any questions about not having leads or having these mental blocks that are making your launches a failure, and that's or stopping you from launching, period. Any questions or any value adds? Dr. Ayala said, well done as usual. Thank you. No problem. Well, as you know, this morning show is a huge compliment to our free business mastermind. It's like we have a class every day. And a part of that class are my notes that give you the 10 strategies, or at least 10 strategies. And so there are only two ways to get these show notes. The first way is to be in our free business mastermind group, where they live in the files section. Another way is for you to get the show notes and the entire morning show in your email inbox. Go to shaycannon.com/show and sign up to get emails. You're going to get 2 every broadcast day, 1 in the morning to remind you to hop on YouTube Live, 1 in the afternoon that's going to give you a link to the replay and a link to the show notes. Okay, shaycannon.com/show. Tonight, my show on Dr. Tachi's Indie Soup Media Network, which is on YouTube. Just search for Indie Soup Media and subscribe. My show, Design Your CEO Life, is back to finish out season 2. So meet me in the live comments at 8 p.m. Eastern time tonight. I'll check you out over there. If you want to see all the replays from season 1 and season 2. Oh, not tonight, next week. I got it wrong. Oh, okay. See y'all next week. Yeah. Look, my bad. I told them yesterday, tonight, and I told them I didn't read my email yesterday because I just knew I had it right, Dr. Tachi. Okay, so meet me next week, next Tuesday. But if you want to get caught up, if you want to see the season 1 shows and all of the season 2 shows that have already happened, go to shaycannon.com/design and still subscribe to the channel. So when we're ready next week, you're ready. All right. Thursday night is going to be our movie club night for the Free Business Mastermind. It's like a book club, but with movies. We watch the movie, then we get together on Zoom and we pull out all the business nuggets and discuss them. So the poll is still going on. It is in the group, so make sure that you are voting. It is on the featured post. So when you go in the group, featured post, vote for the movie. I think I'm going to close out voting. I think it's noon tomorrow, which is Wednesday. So make sure that you vote. All right. Cool beans. Now, to find out more about me, your host, Shay Cannon, and how to join this hugely valuable free business mastermind, go in the description below to get more information and the link. All right. If you haven't already, I need you to like this episode because you know you got value. So give us a thumbs up, like the episode. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and understand that this is a series that's going to have 4 parts. So make sure that you check out the other videos. All right. Cool beans. And with that, the studio is closing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll see you right back here on tomorrow.